Rumors are swirling about a MIC grab action by Barron Trump, and we'll be delving into it and discovering what really happened or if that truly happened. Well, it is all said to have happened at the Capitol Rotunda. The place is huge, and the atmosphere was just brimming with expectation, like everyone could feel something was about to pop off, but no one really knew what. It was said that cameras were snapping left and right, capturing every little detail. People were in position, ready for the standard proceedings, the speeches, the formalities, but then, something unexpected happened. And when I say unexpected, I mean it was like the room had just been hit with a lightning bolt. It was rumored that Barron Trump made his way toward the podium, suddenly grabbed the microphone like he was about to drop a bombshell. Everyone's eyes snapped to him, and the entire place just stopped. In an unprecedented move, Barron Trump allegedly grabbed the MIC during a live TV appearance, leaving everyone in the studio speechless. What was his reason for taking control, and how did the Trump family react? This isn't your typical TV moment. Stick around to discover all the shocking details behind this bold action. The crowd went from stiff politeness to this raw, electrifying excitement. It was like the whole room collectively realized, wait, this is no longer just some normal inauguration stuff, something bigger is happening. You should have seen the reaction. The crowd? Wild. They were losing it. It was like they had just been waiting for something to break the tension, and Barron, with his natural charm and unexpected presence, had done exactly that. As soon as he raised his hands, giving this gesture like he was about to address a massive audience, the place went nuts. You could feel the energy shift in the air. There was something magnetic about him at that moment. And that wasn't all, oh no. Barron wasn't just standing there looking awkward or uncomfortable. No, he knew exactly what he was doing. He started connecting with the crowd. He waved, he made these playful gestures, and the best part? He put his hand behind his ear like he was asking for more applause. And the crowd? They ate it up. I mean, Barron was totally owning that stage, and the reactions were off the charts. Even the dignitaries and influential figures sitting there were totally caught off guard, swept up in the energy of the moment. It was like a total game changer. And then there was his dad, President Trump. One can only imagine how proud he must have felt, sitting there watching his son. Not only did Barron have that natural connection with the crowd, but it also sparked something deeper. President Trump later pointed out that Barron's appeal to the younger crowd was a huge deal, like, his presence helped push that 36-point lead in the youth vote. Who would have thought, right? In the middle of a cold and serious inauguration, Barron Trump's spontaneous moment would do all that. But it wasn't just about his dad's pride or the political significance. It was bigger than that. It was this moment of surprise and raw human connection that cut through all the formality and reminded everyone that this was real life. The cameras and the social media buzz picked it up, and within minutes, videos of the whole thing were spreading like wildfire. It turned what was supposed to be a standard, ceremonial event into something way more memorable. It wasn't just another inauguration, no, it was Barron Trump's moment in the sun. Now, did this MIC grab event happen? Of course not. If you watched the event at Capitol Rotunda, you'll absolutely know. But the bugging question is, why is this information being circulated? What exactly about Barron Trump's presence at the Capitol Rotunda spurred the circulation of the MIC grab narrative? Stick around till the very end as we unveil it all step by step. Breaking down Barron Trump's bold move. So, there's this fascinating analysis floating around about Barron Trump, and it's honestly pretty intriguing. According to body language experts, Barron's got this growing presence that's impossible to ignore. Darren Stanton, a body language guru, actually pointed out one little gesture of his that says it all. Barron does this thing called the politician steeple, where he brings his fingertips together while seated. Doesn't sound like much, but it's a move that screams confidence. Like, seriously, it's a way to show authority, but in a chill, not in-your-face kind of way. It's not about acting superior, it's just Barron showing he's got this whole new level of comfort with himself, especially in front of the public eye. Pretty wild for someone his age, right? But it doesn't stop there. You know how sometimes people will just kind of shuffle around or stand in the background when they are out at these big events? Not Barron. He's not some awkward kid just tagging along behind his parents. Instead, he's got this strategic placement thing going on. Barron Trump positions himself behind his parents, like he's letting them take the lead, but at the same time, he's there, engaged, involved, with this air of quiet confidence that shows trust and readiness to step up when the time's right. It's almost like he's already figuring out how to balance between being part of the family legacy and developing his own space. And then there's his stride. People have noticed it, a calm, measured walk that says, "I belong here," without needing to say a word. You can tell he's got it figured out. His posture, the way he greets people, it's not just polite, it's kind of magnetic in a way that you can't help but notice. The whole thing makes you wonder, how much of this is innate and how much of it comes from watching his parents navigate the world of public appearances all these years. You've got people like Nathan Pierce, CEO of Pierce Bespoke, who've even weighed in, calling Barron super bright and well beyond his years in terms of experience, knowledge, and history. And you know what? That's not some random throwaway compliment. If you listen closely, it's clear Barron's communication is shaped by his mom's influence, as well as his own developing personality. There's this mixture of refinement and intelligence that doesn't seem forced. It's almost like he's being groomed for something big. And it's not just people who've been paying attention to him recently. His public demeanor has been evolving over time. If you compare this event to his earlier ones, it's a night and day difference. Remember when he was just a little kid, not speaking much, and sometimes seeming a bit out of place? Well, fast forward to now, and Barron's become a total presence in these events. He's not just hanging out in the back anymore. He's almost like a sweeper, entering and leaving with his parents, but all the while engaging confidently with everyone around him. It's like he's now fully aware of the role he plays, and he's growing into it more every day. Ruby Figueroa, this theater actress and body language expert, has noticed the change too. She mentions how Barron's stoic, reserved demeanor is actually calculated. It's like he knows exactly how to present himself in public, no unnecessary fuss, just a composed, almost royal-like presence. And it's not like that's something he's just pulled out of nowhere. Think about it, Barron used to have this noticeable Slovenian accent when he was younger. Now? That's pretty much gone, which shows just how much he's developed, not just in terms of speech, but in terms of his awareness of his public role and how he carries himself. Honestly, it's all kind of fascinating to watch. Barron Trump, the young man, is already starting to carve out a space for himself that's distinct and undeniably influential. Whether it's through his body language, voice, or the way he interacts with people, there's a sense of quiet authority around him that's becoming hard to ignore. He's not just standing in the background anymore. No, Barron is moving toward the front, and it's clear that he's growing into a role that could one day be much larger than we might even imagine right now. Is Barron Trump finally making a statement of his own? Allegedly grabbing the mic on live TV, Barron created a moment that stunned both the hosts and viewers alike. What led to this surprising action, and how did it change the course of the conversation? Keep watching to find out everything you need to know about this incredible moment. His immediate response, Barron Trump, who's typically not in the spotlight as much as some of his other siblings, is slowly having his moment of fame, respect, and recognition. And what made it even more interesting was how his family, particularly his parents and siblings, reacted. There was this genuine sense of pride, but it wasn't in the kind of flashy, over-the-top way that you might expect from the Trump family. It was more like a quiet, supportive pride that really stood out. Now, let's talk about Donald Trump for a second. The way he reacted to Barron was, well, it was definitely fatherly pride at its finest. He didn't just give a quick compliment, he really took the time to point out how Barron had developed this impressive understanding of politics. And let's be real, that's not something you hear about a lot when it comes to teenagers, right? A lot of kids are just trying to get through high school or college, but here's Barron, allegedly already giving political advice. You can almost hear the fatherly excitement in Trump's voice when he talks about how Barron's influence extends to the youth vote. The whole thing with Barron supposedly helping the campaign. Barron Trump pulled in a massive 36-point lead among young voters. Can you even imagine? That's a huge deal. And then there's the podcast mention. Barron allegedly suggested podcast appearances that ended up going viral, broke the internet, as they say. I mean, at this point, you're almost thinking, is Barron secretly a political mastermind in the making? It's wild to think about, right? And then there's Melania, always so composed. But even with her trademark grace, it was clear how proud she was of her son. You could practically see the warmth in her eyes as she watched Barron in those moments. I think anyone who's ever had a kid can understand that sense of pride in watching them take on the world in their own way. It wasn't just about her son's political savvy, it was about how Barron was handling his college experience. She was so proud of the way Barron was handling all the attention and challenges that came with it. And let's not forget how Melania also praised Barron's understanding of modern communication, which in itself is a big deal. But hold on, we can't forget the siblings. It wasn't just Barron's parents who were glowing with pride, his brothers and sisters were right there too, showing their support. Ivanka, for example, had this genuinely surprised reaction when Barron photobombed her moment. A little pat on the back and a cute, oh. You could see the warmth between them, no pretenses, just sibling love. And then there's Tiffany and Lara, who were beaming with genuine smiles when they saw Barron's surprise appearance. Honestly, there's something so nice about seeing siblings who've grown up in the public eye but still share those really sincere, human moments together. All 5 Trump children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, Eric, Tiffany, and Barron, stood together at the ceremony, a rare moment of complete unity. It wasn't about politics that day. It was family. The way they all rallied around Barron, supporting him without any hesitation, made it feel like a real family moment, despite all the chaos and noise from the media. And then, of course, there was Jason Miller, a senior campaign advisor who couldn't help but praise Barron for his input, claiming that every single recommendation Barron allegedly made had turned into ratings gold. That's a big statement, right? I mean, sure, it's coming from someone who's working closely with the campaign, but still, it's clear that Barron wasn't just an observer. He was involved, and he had an impact. So yes, that whole moment just painted such a different picture of the Trump family. It wasn't about the usual political drama or media buzz, it was a private, heartfelt moment that showcased how these public figures, despite everything, still have those family dynamics that transcend all the headlines. It's easy to forget that behind the cameras and the politics, there's just a family, and they support each other like anyone else would. This was a moment where that support, pride, and love really shone through, and you couldn't help but smile at how real and raw it felt in contrast to everything else we usually see. Social media explosion and viral momentum. When Barron Trump's alleged microphone moment hit social media, it was like an explosion. People were amazed, some even in disbelief. It sparked so many questions about the role of youth in politics today. Barron, in that one moment, became more than just a Trump family member, he became a symbol of something bigger. And let's not forget about TikTok. Oh boy, TikTok ran wild with it. It was like watching a modern-day remix of something that hadn't even truly happened yet. And although that event never happened, this isn't the first time the public is eating up any information about Barron Trump. It seems like a lot of people are just obsessed with him, and he unknowingly made that obsession stronger with the fact that he is very elusive. Now, let's focus on the true events regarding Barron Trump. The video of Barron speaking from years ago suddenly shot up to over 54 million views. Like, how does that even happen? It's almost as if the internet was waiting for that one moment to explode. The audio snippet, "I like my suitcase," became a thing of its own, leading to over 65,000 recreated TikToks. Can you even picture that? 65,000. It didn't stop there though. There was this viral club remix that hit 20,000 videos, and, oh, the memes. How can you forget those? Some of them were even edits where Barron was dancing like his dad, Donald Trump. The way the platform's algorithm just picked it up and ran with it turned Barron into this. Barron Trump became an unlikely social media sensation. And here's the kicker, he didn't even have his own account. No personal social media presence, yet there he was, a full-blown meme phenomenon. Soon enough, blurry photos and videos of him from NYU's Stern School of Business started popping up all over, adding to his online mystery and aura. People were absolutely eating it up. Public figures, political analysts, and even people who weren't all that into politics started giving their 2 cents. But it wasn't just chatter. This moment led to something bigger. Barron's entrance into NYU's Stern School of Business happened to coincide with his sudden viral fame. Isn't that just a little too perfect? It felt like destiny. And the internet caught wind of it. Students were out there, sharing snippets of their famous classmates' daily life, whether it was him walking across campus or just being Barron. Every new post became more fuel to the fire. So much curiosity surrounded his academic journey and his potential role in politics. It was like a unique narrative, one that had a special pull for younger voters who were beginning to notice him. His story wasn't just about being the son of the President of the United States, it was about his own potential, his own future, and whether he was ready to rise to it. Could he actually be the next generation's political voice? With all the buzz surrounding his every move, there was no telling how far his influence could stretch. The more the public saw, the more they seemed to want. Behind the scenes, Barron Trump has been influencing his father's campaign strategies, particularly in engaging the youth vote. Serving as an unofficial podcast advisor, his contributions have been pivotal yet understated. How has the media covered Barron's involvement in the political arena, and what insights can we glean from today's reports? Join us as we uncover the layers of media coverage surrounding Barron's political engagements. Media coverage and public opinion. Mainstream media have their eyes on Barron, especially now that he's growing in influence. Of course, you should expect the whole old conservative versus liberal media narrative to play out in real time. Do they ever get tired? Well, conservative outlets were all about praising Barron for his calm demeanor and what they saw as his natural political intelligence. There was no shortage of praise for how he carried himself, with many suggesting he had a sharp mind for politics, something that could only help him if he ever decided to step into the limelight. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Centrist outlets, as you'd expect, took a more cautious approach, wanting to dig into the facts first before jumping to any conclusions. They weren't ready to crown him just yet, at least not without more information. On the flip side, liberal platforms were really interested in Barron's potential to shape youth involvement in politics. They were especially intrigued by how he could connect with younger audiences and how he might represent a new wave of political engagement. Isn't it crazy how political perspectives can shape the way a story is told? And then, of course, there was international media, because what's a viral moment without the world's attention, right? The coverage didn't just stay in the US, oh no. Global outlets turned their gaze to Barron and his rising profile. News networks across the globe were quick to point out his current role as a student at New York University's Stern School of Business. Can you believe how big that is? The guy's at NYU, and people are already treating him like a political figure in the making. International media outlets were all over it, focusing on his ability to navigate both the world of academics and politics. And they didn't stop there. They really leaned into his statement that he doesn't support any political party when talking about his university discussions. You can see how this creates this very interesting dynamic, right? Barron's still young, but here he is, in a place where people are already watching and speculating about his future. So, what does it all mean? Even British politician Nigel Farage had something to say about Barron, calling him very bright and acknowledging his contributions to his father's campaign. Now that's something, isn't it? A conservative British politician weighing in on Barron's potential, describing him as someone who could do big things in the future. It's clear that Barron's influence is stretching far beyond American borders, capturing the attention of people on an international scale. It's wild how something as simple as a microphone moment can snowball into something much larger. And don't forget about Barron's savvy in the digital space. His suggestions, like recommending the Joe Rogan podcast, shows he's got a grasp on modern media, which is huge in today's political time. Isn't it mind-blowing how a young person's engagement with platforms like that can change the narrative around them? It's like Barron's already part of this new wave of political communication that blends both traditional and modern platforms. Now, to top it all off, the international media really honed in on Barron's multilingual background, even going as far as to find footage of him speaking with a Slovenian accent. That's got to be a sign of his unique position, don't you think? A kid who's growing up with access to multiple languages and cultures, already dipping his toes into politics, academia, and international affairs. His life seems like this delicate dance between public expectations and personal boundaries. And yet, somehow, he keeps managing to keep it all together, at least for now. As Barron Trump steps into the public eye, professionals from various fields are taking note of his unique position and potential impact. From his entrepreneurial ambitions to his role in political strategy, experts are weighing in on what his moves mean for the future. What are the professional perspectives on Barron Trump today, and how might they shape his journey? Stay till the very end as we delve into these insights and analyses. Professional perspectives. Body experts have had a long day lately, analyzing Barron Trump throughout his public appearances. One body language expert, Judy James, had some pretty fascinating takes on Barron's behavior. She didn't just say he had a good presence, she called it super confidence, mixed with a little bit of humor as he worked the room. Imagine this, a young guy, still growing up in the shadow of his father, yet managing to show off his own personality without overshadowing his dad. How does someone do that so effortlessly? It's like Barron created this vibe that's dignified yet approachable, a little bit like royalty but without being over the top. And when you think about it, that balance is something a lot of people would envy. James noticed some key things that painted a picture of Barron's self-assuredness. First, his movements were super purposeful, not rushed, not fidgety, but confident. It's the kind of thing that gets attention without him even trying. And let's not forget how Barron always positioned himself strategically, usually staying a little behind his parents. It wasn't accidental, either. There's a certain grace in acknowledging the crowd's response, almost like he knows how to hold the room without having to shout about it. And all those controlled facial expressions? They were the cherry on top. He maintained his dignity without looking stiff. What do you think it takes for someone to master that kind of composure at such a young age? Then, there's Darren Stanton, another body language expert who picked up on something pretty interesting, Barron's use of the politician's steeple gesture. Now, what does that even mean? Well, this gesture is typically linked with authority and control. And it wasn't just about looking important. Stanton pointed out that Barron used this gesture with purpose, showing that he's aware of his surroundings, constantly taking everything in. It's not like he's trying to act superior, but rather like he's in tune with everything around him. That kind of awareness? That's something you can't just fake. And let's not ignore the political analysts, because they are noticing something big. Barron is slowly but surely carving out his role in Trump's campaign strategy. Jason Miller, a senior campaign advisor, pointed out how Barron's ideas are actually having a real impact. For instance, Barron came up with the suggestion of appearing on podcasts, something that shows he totally gets how people consume media these days. I mean, how many people his age are coming up with ideas like that? It's honestly pretty impressive. Nathan Pierce, another political analyst, added to this, calling Barron well beyond his years in terms of experience, knowledge, and history. Sounds like someone who knows what's going on, right? And this idea of Barron connecting with younger audiences? That's been a growing theme, and it's not hard to see why. He just knows how to speak to them. Speaking of speaking, public speaking coaches had their say, too. They zeroed in on Barron's voice control and delivery, which is more of a science than you'd think. Ruby Figueroa, a body language and theater coach, pointed out that Barron's reserved demeanor wasn't an accident, it was planned. He wasn't out there trying to be the loudest voice in the room, but rather someone who speaks thoughtfully and with purpose. Does that sound like a teenager to you? Well, that's what people are noticing. He's not just going through the motions. Mark Bowden, another communication expert, dug into Barron's performance during the inauguration. He noticed how Barron's subtle body language, like bouncing on his heels and raising his eyebrows, made him seem both optimistic and approachable. These little movements, small as they might seem, made him stand out in a crowd. Can you imagine being able to send such strong signals with just a glance or a posture shift? Then there's Susan Constantine, who added another layer to the whole royalty comparison. She saw a parallel between Barron's presentation and the way American royalty might carry themselves. While Barron isn't exactly royalty, there's this undeniable air about him that suggests he's not just a regular teenager. He's learning the ropes of supporting a bigger cause, all while building his own identity. It's like watching someone grow into their role without even fully realizing how much they've already become. Isn't that wild to think about? Patty Wood, another expert, honed in on Barron's ability to stay calm under pressure, and that's not something you see every day. It's like he's in the middle of high-profile events, and instead of getting rattled, he keeps his cool. When you're thrown into situations where the spotlight is on you, handling the pressure without breaking a sweat is a talent. It says a lot about his confidence, his understanding of the world, and maybe even his long-term plans. So, what do all these experts really think? Well, their collective analysis paints the picture of a young person who isn't just going through the motions but is actively learning how to handle the world of public appearances, politics, and communication. Barron Trump, according to Nathan Pierce, is down-to-earth and relatable, especially to younger crowds. He knows how to connect, how to show up, and how to hold his own without being overbearing. Over the years, these insights have shaped the image of Barron as someone who's poised for more than just a few occasional appearances. He's starting to become a figure who understands the deeper dynamics of modern communication. Now, isn't that something to think about? With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.